Drew, first of all, you've been in Impact Wrestling now a couple of months. I've got to ask, how are you finding it?
I'm finding it awesome. It's a great working environment. Everybody's, so passionate about wrestling and making the company succeed, especially with the move to Destination America and the network being so behind the product. Just been surrounded by fellow, obsessive wrestling fans and just people that want to see everything go well is, very motivating. So we've got something that's going amazing already, like at the ground level, if you like, and the sky's the limit. So I'm loving everything that's happened so far and excited about the future.
When you joined Impact Wrestling, were there people that you knew already from your time in other organisations?
Oh yeah, I knew like 80% of the roster. Just been in America for 8 years, and guys from the UK that I knew before I came over. But yeah, majority of the guys I'd either worked with at some point or another, or came across at some point or another. Through like other friends, I'd met everybody. I watched the product, and the thing about wrestling is you feel like you know people even if you've not actually spoke to them. So you've saw so much of their work, etc. Especially guys who are really good. I'm a wrestling fan first and foremost, so I tend to watch guys who are good, and there's a lot of good wrestlers there. So even the guys I hadn't met before, I felt like I knew them already.
And when you made your appearance in Glasgow, was it a case that this had been planned months in advance, or was it a call late in the day for you to make your debut?
It was as last possible second as you can possibly imagine. Basically, I flew in to Scotland to do a show for Insane Championship Wrestling, where I'm the champion right now, on this Sunday. On the Monday, I had a bunch of missed calls from a Tennessee number. I looked at it, said, I don't know anybody in Tennessee, threw my phone away, continued sleeping. And then I finally checked my phone again, and Tommy Dreamer had messaged me saying, can you pick up the phone, please? TNA would like to talk to you. I had no goals of being back on worldwide TV again so soon. After just finishing with WWE. But after speaking to the bosses there, hearing what they had to say, heard, their goals for the future of the company and the fact they were just going to allow me to be me. Like, that's all I've ever wanted to do is just be Drew Galloway. I've been doing it for the past 8 months. I've won 5 titles on 3 continents, really started making a buzz for myself, just being myself and wrestling long matches and having fun. And that's why I didn't want to jump into anything, but as soon as I got into TNA, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. There's something really special going on here, and it's only just going to get bigger and better.
And how did you find that English tour and the Scotland leg as well? Because every time you came out, there seemed to be a lot of noise. Oh,
it was incredible. Like, obviously, debuting in Scotland was pretty special. Nobody knew it was happening. I didn't quite finish the story. The last one, I signed the contract right before I hit the ring. So that's how last minute was. That was the final part of the last story. But yeah, debuting in Scotland was something else. I can't really put into words how amazing that felt at the Hydro, which I've never actually wrestled before. It's the new arena in Scotland. And to come out in the last match with Grado and Al Snow and the BDC on them, and then I hit the ring. Nobody knew I was there except barely a handful of people. And cleared the ring, and myself and Grado with our hands raised by Earl Hebner, probably the most legendary referee of all time, was pretty cool. And then, like you say, when I come out in Manchester, just the reception was just unbelievable. And what was even cooler is once I started talking and speaking my mind, the fans were receptive because they felt the same as I did. And London was the same, and inevitably when I got to the Impact Zone, the question was, Drew's from the UK, is that why they're reacting that way? And I got to the Impact Zone, it was exactly the same. They're reacting that way just because they believe in the cause and the things I'm saying. I'm just speaking as a wrestling fan, and I have the fortunate ability to, I've got the microphone and I can say what I'm thinking, and generally what I'm thinking is what wrestling fans are thinking because I'm the biggest wrestling fan there is.
And just looking at that reaction you got in the UK, do you think it's time for Impact Wrestling to have a pay-per-view in the UK?
Oh, I'd say absolutely. There's such a strong TNA presence in the UK. As the fans here wrestling crazy and TNA crazy. And 100%, I say there should be, one day, a couple of tours over here, and 100% a pay-per-view. That's got to be the goal. Like, I don't know anything official, but I know that's got to be the goal because there's such a strong presence here, and the fans are daft for it, and the fans want it, so we should give it to them. And plus, it'd be really cool.
And speaking about your time working for so many different organisations, how have you found that since you left the WWE?
Very awesome. Like, as soon as I left, I was on Chris Jericho's podcast, and I said right away, got some big goals. I plan to become the biggest wrestler in the world. I set myself probably the biggest goal I could possibly have set myself. We're in the era of social media. People can follow you, what you're doing, and there's a lot of buzz around a lot of places. The UK scene is absolutely booming. There's places in America that are booming. There's so much going on right now, and I believe in my ability, and a lot of people thankfully also did, and it gave me the platform to show what I could really do, and not just in the ring, just on the microphone as well. It just allowed me to be myself, and thanks to these people giving me the chance, things really started taking off. I made my comeback to Scotland, and the video went viral. It was my first appearance, and then I won the Evolve title in America in my very first match back. That caused a bit of a buzz, and from there, I started having these high-profile matches with guys that were so respected and independent as incredible wrestlers. And that really started getting the buzz going. And now, as I say, I've got the 5 titles on the 3 continents, and I'm with TNA also. Like, things could not be going better. Whatever goals I set, I've smashed them, and it's thanks to people believing in me.
You're currently part of a new stable called The Rising with Eli, Drake and Mika. Did you know them before you joined?
I knew Micah before, Saku's son. We were in developmental together years ago before I even debuted on WWE. So I've known him for years. He's an awesome guy. He's obviously from an incredible heritage and just loves wrestling. And Eli, I've never met before, but I could tell just right away, he's a very passionate, confident guy, and I'm excited to, see what he brings in the ring, because everything else is like absolutely, there. The passion, the fact he's so comfortable in the ring, on the microphone. I just want to see, what else he brings in the ring. But that's a couple of guys I'm very proud to have by my side right now. I'm excited about the future and the things the Rising are going to do, 'cause so far things have been unbelievable, and that's thanks to the fans.
And speaking of the British boot camp and the talent that came from there, do you think that there will be more British talent joining Impact Wrestling in the near future?
Well, absolutely. The thing about wrestling is it doesn't matter where you're from, it's just if you're good enough. And the reality is the UK wrestling scene is absolutely unbelievable right now. So like, America's always been the top place for independent wrestling. It's still phenomenal, but now the UK has just been absolutely booming. Like, when I first started, I used to travel from Ayr to Portsmouth. That was a 12-hour journey because there was nothing in Scotland. And then we started the early days of Scottish wrestling there. There's a couple of places in England. I went away and came back, and there's so many places now just absolutely on fire. And there's so many guys that deserve that worldwide stage, and will get that worldwide stage, and not just because they're British, just because they're that good. And that's the reality. You'll get the shot if you're good enough.
And looking at the differences between Impact Wrestling where you are now and the WWE where you were, what would you say the main difference is?
Well, like I said, the difference is like WWE's WWE. It's the machine. It's what Vince McMahon created. It's phenomenal. It's the guys are, I don't like saying interchangeable, but WWE's always going to be WWE. You're part of something that's already such worldwide phenomenon. It's its own entity. The cool thing now about moving networks, it's been part of something that is at the ground level of the new network, and really part of a team effort to make it grow. And the bosses are very personable and make it clear that if we all work hard, we can really make something happen here. And that's a cool feeling, and to try and help build something and be part of that. And then when it succeeds, we'll all be able to sit there and go, wow, we all did this together. So that's a big difference, certainly.
And just looking at your aims while you're in Impact Wrestling, surely that World Heavyweight title must be on your eye.
Oh yeah, well that's the goal. Now, I've got some short-term goals, but 100%, if you're not looking at the world title, then you shouldn't be in wrestling as far as I'm concerned. That's the ultimate prize, and if you're not looking to be the top guy, why are you even there? I'm not there to make up the numbers, I'm there to eat them up. And the world title and Kurt Angle are the two things I've got my eyes on. Like somebody I watched growing up, somebody I've patterned myself over in certain ways, just such an incredible wrestler. The idea of getting to wrestle him for the world title would just absolutely blow my mind. And, the idea of potentially winning the world title, that would just, if that blew my mind wrestling, I might even know what happened to my mind winning the world title.